Hey y'all, welcome to What's Up Next. I'm Demetrius.
And I'm Justine.
You are now tuned into our podcast where we take a deep dive into some interesting topics and everyday situations that we face as a young millennial couple.
For those of you who don't know us, What's Up Next is a play on my soon-to-be last name, but it's for sure a common phrase in our household. Anyway, let's stop talking and let's get into this week's episode.
Let's get it. What's Up Next family? What's popping with everybody?
What's up?
Got the lovely fiance with me. And
Yes.
Today is a special day because why?
Today marks our 1-year anniversary of being engaged.
Straight like that. August 25th, 2019 is the day I asked Justine to marry me, the day she said yes. Mm-hmm. And now it's a whole year later. And I'm just going to say time truly does fly because...
That's true.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's wild.
How fast that came.
But today we are going to just ask each other a series of questions.
Yeah.
Pertaining everything to before the engagement, after the engagement, lifestyle changes, highs and lows, just things we've learned in the last year because It's been a roller coaster. It's been a blessed one, but it definitely has been a journey, you know?
Yep. Well, first, let's cheers to a year.
Oh, yeah, say that.
And then we'll go ahead and dive in. Cool. So, can I start off?
Yeah, please do.
Let's go. So, I want to ask you, and I partially already know, but I want to ask you, what were the steps that you needed to take to prepare yourself for this engagement? From everything from buying the ring to asking the folks to planning this amazing island, like drone footage, all of it.
Come on.
All of it.
You're giving too much away.
I gotta give you some credit.
You're giving too much away. I gotta talk my stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Nah, but so ironically, when I went to look for your ring, didn't even know I was gonna be getting it that day. It was just strictly a browse.
Yeah.
For the heck of it. Ended up, making a purchase and getting the ring. And then at that moment, it was like, all right, now you got to start planning and figuring things out. So that was literally weeks, maybe days before I made the move to Texas in 2019. Yeah. And so all of that, 2019 starts doing our thing. In July, I made it a mission to go back to Sacramento to ask your parents for their blessing. I wanted to do that in person and formally and just physically, let them know that I was serious. And, this means a lot to me. It's funny because when I think about that, I remember the hell you gave me for going back. I'm going for
sorry.
Less than 48. You good. I forgive you. You good. For less than 48 hours. But it was worth it, and it was something that I knew I needed to do. So what I actually did was, it was probably on the plane or something. But I formulated like paragraphs or messages for each of your parents, and I wrote them on different cards and really just talked about the person that you are and thanking them for raising you how you are and allowing me to be, the person that gets to spend life with you and benefit from that. And so for the longest, it was tough trying to get your parents at the same place.
At the same time.
For those who don't know, your dad works
nights.
Yeah, Justine's father works nights. And so I was trying to go in the daytime and was trying to, make sure he was up because it's like, I can't do it. There's no one without the other. I need both of you. Yeah. And I'm texting your mom, trying to have her middleman play. Yeah, and, for the longest, I'm like, no, she would tell me, Mr. Corte may not be here, but you can still stop by. And I'm like, no. Like, with all due respect, I need both of you. But anyways, we get there. Your father's up. I give him the cards. And, I ask. And the first thing your father says, he looks me in my eyes, shakes my hand, and says, real man. And was just like, you got it. You got it.
Real man.
Right. So your mom breaks out crying. Kind of just happy tears, of course. Yeah. And that was it. And they talked about it. It's like, when are you going to do it? And
you showed them the ring at that time.
Yes, I did.
Or the ring fell out.
The ring fell as I'm about to tell them. It falls out of the middle or my pocket. I don't know where I had it, but if it falls out, your mom looks at it, recognize it's a ring case. And that's when she starts bursting into tears. Like,
just
no.
bawling.
Like, oh my God, no. And then I bring it out and I show them. But anyways, that's when they asked, like, yo, where you plan on doing it? And I was like, we got this trip to Barbados coming up in August. I'm thinking about doing it there. And they were like, dope. And once I heard them say dope and, like, it's good, like, they weren't pressed about being there for the moment. Yeah. They were just happy that it was happening. Yeah. And that gave me the utmost confidence moving forward. And then it really was just planning the whole situation from well, I guess you booked.
I booked. So let's talk about how this happened.
Yeah, I did my thing.
I booked a photo shoot because this was our first trip out of the country. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, let's do it big. We're going to take pictures. We're going to do all of it. So I booked a photo shoot. We took pictures, or we got to the location, met the photographer. Great. And as soon as I get on, like, the property where we were at, I'm like, oh, cool, they fly drones out here. Mm-hmm. That was, like, one of my first statements. Thought nothing of it, like a dork. And then we're taking pictures, and our guy, the photographer, is like, you stand in front, he's going to stand behind you. And I'm thinking this is like, okay, you got a vision. Mm-hmm. Great. Mm-hmm. I'm standing there, and then the guy says, turn around, and all I see is Demetrius about 3 feet away from me, like, on one knee. And I must have just been like, huh? And the first thing I thought, you had, like, a battery.
Yeah, because I got this little
He got this really
sleek ring
fancy ring case that, like, makes the ring lay flat, and then it pops up when you open it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you forgot that you have, like, a battery in your hand. Like, what are you doing? And then I saw him slide it back and was like, shut up.
Yeah, that's really what you said.
I know.
But it's all good. But, yeah. That's exactly how it went, and then the rest is history. And you understood what the drone was for.
At that point, yes.
Yeah, and everything went as planned, and I just coordinated it.
And I give you props because you lost your phone in the middle of the ocean the day before. So he was literally trying to work off my phone, hide it still. Yeah. Like, hide the discreet fact. And then not only that, like, that's just talking about, like, the actual communication point, but he was also trying to mask the fact that, like, damn, I'm upset. I really just lost my phone in the middle of the ocean the day before my engagement. So really, like, pictures, everything that I already had prior to all of this. Now I can't even take none moving forward till we get home and I get a new phone.
God works in mysterious ways, and the man brought it back to me.
And he blessed you.
Shout out to that guy. Okay, so that's that. My question for you is, how did you feel, like, emotionally during that proposal? Like, okay, I know you were lost and didn't know what was going on, but the moment that you saw me on my knee with the ring out, saying a bunch of words that I didn't piece together properly, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were like, whoa, like, this is really happening. And then my next thought was, that was the exact ring I sent him. Like, I sent you that ring years ago. Mm-hmm. And you kept the picture, and you knew exactly which one it was, and you got the exact one. But like I said, my first words was, like, shut up, this is not happening. Like, I really thought this was a very surreal moment where I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. And I tell you, and I tell everybody else, like, if you had waited longer, 2-3 more years, then I would have been like, okay, it's about that time. But I didn't know it was that time for you yet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, this really happened. Like, I'm really about to step into this. And then after it all happened, that was the only thought that was, like, racing in my head. Like, you about to be a whole wife.
Yeah. It's funny you say, like, you didn't expect it. Or you said, like, yo, he's really doing this. Like, he's really for it. And it's funny because that's something I told your father when I first met him yo, he's like, what's your intention with my daughter? And me, I'm like, yo, I gotta
come out strong.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to marry her. And he was like, man, I don't want to hear that.
That's an African father for you.
As he's washing his car, and I'm just sitting there,
That was, like, the most cliche way for my dad and you to meet, like, for the first time.
Yeah, but it was cool though.
Yeah.
But it's funny, just as a man, there's a pleasure that I get falling through on statements that I said I would do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if nobody's like, if your dad doesn't think, like, man, he told me that and he did it, like, salute that man. Mm-hmm. I'm already saluting and clapping for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not too many people can stand solid on their word, and especially with that type of commitment. 2
or 3 years before the engagement, like, you met my parents.
Maybe, yeah. I would say 2 or 3 years.
That's crazy. Did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
sure. What's your next question?
My next question is, what is the one thing that you had to have in order or you had to get right with yourself or whatever it was before making the decision to propose?
That whole process was a mental journey, you know what I'm saying? A spiritual journey, emotional journey. It was all things, but not physical. You know what I'm saying? I had to get everything else right. Like, yo, you understand the commitment you're making, right? Like,
Yeah.
no man before you has done anything like this. You don't come from a lineage of men who've made this type of commitment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going against all odds right now. And yeah, so I battled with that for a long time, but also knew that the man I am, the man my mom raised me to be, the man that my family has poured into, you know what I'm saying? Kind of prepared me for this journey and this decision. And so as far as with me and you, I had to make sure that you knew all things about me. You know, there were no secrets or things that I, kind of withheld from you for the sake of not knowing how you would view me or how you would view the fact that was my past or whatever it was. And I really had to air that out and keep it all the way 100 with you because I was doing something serious and asking you to be with me for the rest of my life. And I think that deserves being clear and having a clear conscience and just being 100% transparent.
Agree with that.
So that's how I prepared for
And
it.
man, even then I should have known. There were a few hints before the proposal happened that I really should have known. Like, this man really sat me down, like, in the middle of, like, we're about to go to bed. He's just like, sit down.
No conflict. There was nothing bad
There was
going on in
nothing
the
that was
relationship.
happening. And I'm like, you're about to tell me something I really don't want to hear. Sat me down, told me something. I was like, okay, cool. Let's go to bed.
And this was something that been weighing on me heavy. So it was
Heavily.
crazy for me to exhibit a sense of vulnerability and hopes and honesty in hopes that it would be well received, and it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like...
Did it make you wish you had shared it earlier?
Kind of, but not really.
Okay.
You know, I think perfect timing is real and things happen when they're supposed to happen. So I won't say I wish I would have done it earlier, but it did teach me to expect good, or don't always expect bad when you're truthful. Because more times than not, people are going to respect honesty.
Right. I think in that moment,
yeah.
I respected the honesty. And I wasn't so worried about what it was. I was just like, okay, why didn't you say that before? Like, I would have been cool either way it had gone.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a little bit more in detail than that, it would be a little different. But
Nah.
That was the moment where I think I had stepped into, like, you going to accept the flaws, you're going to accept the perfections, you're going to accept whatever it is. And again, this is before the proposal, but I was already in the mindset of, like, this is your forever person.
Yeah,
like,
you moved out here, fam.
yeah, like, you're going to make it work.
Yeah.
So, no, I accepted that and we moved on. I came home and surprised him, which is on my Instagram page, and he was like, just wait 1 second. And I'm like sitting out on the couch and he's just like putting stuff up in a shoebox somewhere. And I'm like, I knew what he was doing, but I was like, oh, maybe he just bought me a pair of shoes. Because last time I came home, there was a pair of shoes sitting on the table. I don't know.
I forgot about that. It's crazy. If you would have came home days before, that ring
just sitting on the counter.
That ring would have been sitting on the counter. And that would have been horrible. Hey, so to anybody who plans on proposing, keep that thing locked up. Keep it out.
With somebody, maybe.
Keep it out any area that she may be. And my woman cleans. Justine cleans. So she'll get in every nook and crevice. So there's nothing that you can hide from her, which is why I landed on my brother Banks and had him hold the ring for me in those final months prior to the proposal. Yeah. So, be careful. Be cautious.
Banks had said something right before we left on our trip.
What?
You got that thing? I'm like,
you weren't even there for that.
No, but you had reacted, and I literally walked straight into the shop right after that. And I was like, what are we talking about? And I just let that one pass. I didn't know what was going on. There was just hints that were made.
Yeah, I'm like, you wasn't even there for that. That stressed me out. This man asked me, you got that ring on you? And I'm, at this moment, my eyes are closed. I'm reclined back, getting a haircut. Getting my hairline razored. And I can't see anything. So I don't know that Justine has left the room. And my heart dropped because I think she's in the room. And I'm like, no, my dude did not just say this, bro. Like, This is like a 10 p.m. cut. We about to drive to Austin to catch our flight.
Yeah.
I was terrified, and I didn't even answer. I was like, bro, no, I'm not saying anything. But
That's funny.
you weren't in the room, so
Gotcha.
that's all that matters. My question for you: what has been the biggest challenge we faced in this year of being engaged?
The biggest challenge we faced. I think learning how to be a union mentally, emotionally, physically, like
Yeah.
how to act as a union. And I will say for anybody out there that's thinking about like, this is the person I want to be married to. If anything is going to come out at any time, and particularly, I think when you are engaged, it's kind of like your trial run to the wedding, or to the marriage. So like, finances will come out. Things that you had trauma from like your parents or grandparents or how you were raised will come out at that time. And just how to act as a union was something that was challenging for us because I had seen a union growing up. My parents had been married for 20 years. You hadn't seen that union up close and personal in a household, in the same setting that I did. And it was kind of like I expected a lot out of you, thinking that you would already know this, though I had already seen it. So I had to be the one to communicate like, hey, I think this is how we should do this. And we had to really talk about what the process of unity looked like, rather than just expecting that unity was supposed to be like a given thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think it was for you on your end? What was the most challenging? Was that the question? Challenging?
Yeah,
Is that the word you used?
The most, or the biggest challenge that we faced. And I would say it's the same thing, really knowing that everything during this time period can either be the biggest advantage towards your marriage or disadvantage.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I feel like we've turned all lemons into lemonade. All insecurities, all past trauma, traumatic events, all communication flaws and errors. We've really been able to lock in on those and put ourselves in a position to really prosper. Not only through the rest of this engagement, but all the way into marriage type stuff. So and beyond. So
I agree with that one.
Yeah, I feel like it was the same thing. Just the whole, everything is exemplified. Everything is highlighted. Like things that may have been able to be passed on, or you could, slide them under the rug. It's like you can't do that no more, fam.
Yeah.
You must address these things.
Yeah.
And how effectively you address them will determine how y'all come out that situation. Right.
And I know I'm big on. And I don't know if there's other couples who have gone through this, and I'm sure there is because there's no way we're the only one. At the very beginning of it, we had some disagreements to the point where it was like, well, maybe this ain't suitable then, and maybe this isn't what we want to do. And I'm like, we're not going to say that. Like, we're not even going to speak that kind of language because when we say that, we'll start to use that as an excuse or a cop-out or whatever it may be. And gratefully, we've gotten out of that, which is amazing because I know couples to this day that still use that 20, 30 years in. And I love that we kind of nipped that in the butt early because we knew we wanted to make this work. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's just for all the couples out there or anybody listening. It's not like it's a quick fix. And we never want to give off that vibe that it was a quick fix. That stuff is daily effort. You know what I'm saying? Incremental change.
Incremental change.
Yeah, like it doesn't happen overnight, but a little small chipping away at it, gets the job done or gets you towards your goal.
Yeah.
The whole MO, the whole whatever is just to have progress towards something. And as long as you're having progress towards something, you'll be straight.
Yeah. So my question to you is, and it might correlate to this, but what was the most valuable lesson you've learned as a fiance thus far?
What is the most valuable lesson I have learned as a fiance?
Thus far.
understanding everything regarding you is my responsibility. Not necessarily like happiness. I need you to bring happiness, in your will
That was a sexy answer.
to be better.
I'm sorry.
To be better and do all that. That's stuff that you should come to the table with. But no, like everything else outside of that, things that I can have a hand in assisting with, need to be the responsibility of me as a man and me as a spouse, me as a husband, just like it would be for, you know what I'm saying, you, or vice versa. Some people may feel like it applies to them as well on the other side. And I think that's what you're signing up for in marriage, personally. And this is just me being young. I don't know all of it yet, but that's just me. Like, all right, the things that I used to just place as, yo, man, that's your problem, handle that. Now I have to look at it like, yo, it's your problem.
That means it's our problem.
It's our problem. Yeah. We got to nip it in the bud. We got to tackle it. We got to make this move in order to get that straight. It's no longer just your burden or battle to carry. You feel me? Mm-hmm. That was a good question.
I know.
That's a good question.
Thanks.
I'm not going to ask you that one, though. Okay. What changed for you mentally from dating to being engaged?
Dating to being engaged.
If there was a mental shift.
Mentally, well, I will say for any woman out there, maybe even men too, like, it's weird going from like, oh, my boyfriend, and being like my fiance. Like, just the word switch.
I had that problem too.
It's like, huh? Or like, this is my girl, or this is my lady, this is my fiance. Have you met my fiance? Like, it's the word switch. Anyway, but the mental switch, I think, once we landed back from Barbados, like, we came back, it was kind of like, okay, now it's running. And I will say the wedding planning stages and, like, what you go through as you start to talk through all of that, you start to learn that you have to be vulnerable and, like, honest about moments in the moment with your spouse or with the person that you are going to call your spouse. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of one of those people that, like, or I was one of those people that if it bothered me, I could kind of 50-50 bite my tongue, 50-50 like, nope, I need to say it. Now going into, like, the fiance stage, it's, hey, if I have a problem with something or I don't like the way that this was done, I'll speak on it just because I know, like, you probably either didn't mean it or it wasn't meant to be perceived that way. Mm-hmm. But mentally, I needed to know, like, you knew that and you were prepared for, like, okay, we could do this, like, for a lifetime in the case that this doesn't change or it does change. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
Yeah. What do you look most forward to going into the husband stage?
Okay, that is an easy answer. I would have to say it's...
Really?
Yeah, it's the part that I get to build a family. One thing I've always told you is, not saying there is a right way to do things, but I never wanted people to be able to say, I married you simply because you were the mother of my child. You know what I'm saying? If we were fortunate or to have that situation happen to us earlier in our relationship. So now, you know what I'm saying, got the fiance thing done, moving towards marriage, becoming a husband. After that, it's going to be the building the foundation, you know what I'm saying, building the family, setting our roots here, hopefully in Dallas, Texas, and really just starting to enjoy the fruits of our labor. I mean, that's just how I see it. Like, I think children are a blessing. God willing, we're able to have them in the future. And that's really it for me. Just building that family and accepting the task of being a great father.
I know a couple people that are listening like, ooh, my ears is ringing.
Wow. Oh, man, get out of here. Everybody that's like, oh, yeah.
Everybody
y'all
has
next.
asked.
Y'all next.
Y'all
it's
up
like,
next.
Oh,
what's up next? Like, a lot of people have done that. Don't you worry. You will find out.
And hopefully we are next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
My last question for you is,
okay,
what has been biggest blessing and or benefit since being engaged?
The biggest blessing. I don't know if this has come from like a full scope of dating you and being with you, but I would say my biggest blessing is being able to accept my flaws as you display them to me. Like, if you say, hey, you need to work on this.
Wow.
Being able to accept it, learn from it, and be transparent about my journey of progressively working on it. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope. I wasn't expecting that. That's definitely like you're my person type of answer.
Yeah.
Not saying they need to be materialistic and or like, oh, what you can do for me type of stuff.
What's mine is yours, yours is mine. I think everybody will say that.
Yeah. No, but that's the real answer. That's very, very,
yeah,
very
like we've had
rare.
moments, and that has probably been the biggest pinnacle of what we've learned since being engaged is when we're able to talk to each other. And you have to talk different when you're engaged. And I'm sure you probably have to talk different when you're married, and you have to talk different when you have a kid as you go through these stages in life. But being engaged, we've talked different to each other than we were when we were dating. It was kind of like, hey, didn't like that you did this. Okay, I'm leaving for like 24 hours and hit me when you're ready to talk. Now it's kind of like let's talk through it. Let's talk about it. What can we do better so that I can be better for you?
Yeah.
Because we're now at that stage where
you can opt out, but
you can opt
it
out,
don't look good.
but it don't look good at all. But what can I do to be a better version of myself?
Yeah.
For myself and for you.
And for the union as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually you'll start asking that about what can I do to be a better mother to stages.
Thankfully for us, that came during our engagement. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's when other people will have that epiphany or that understanding. It may come earlier. It may come before the engagement. It may come way after. Yeah. But the goal is just to get there. And I'm glad we got there where we did.
Yeah, and we're still working on it.
Absolutely.
Like
marathon.
What is one thing of advice that you would give to somebody who is either thinking about getting engaged, or let's say that this person is getting engaged in a week? Like they already have the ring, they're ready to go. What's one piece of advice that you would give?
Don't have no doubts.
Cool. None?
Nah. I didn't have none.
That's the last thing you probably want to doubt.
Bro, I can't. I'm already in my head as it is. I can't have doubts about this person really being for me or really being who I'm supposed to be with. When I sit down and I ask myself this list of questions, I need each box to be checked. If each box is checked, then I can move forward with absolute confidence. If you can't check every box about that person that you wish to marry and be with the rest of your life, then, you know what I'm saying, step back, analyze, readjust. But I would that's my advice right there. Have that checklist of everything that you wish and or hope for that individual to possess as your future life partner. And if they meet every one of those like qualifications, whatever it may be, you good.
Would you say though that if you're going through this checklist and let's say there's one that's it's a maybe, is that a doubt, or does that mean, let me think optimistically, let me think with the glass half full, we can work through this one?
I think there are certain areas that a person may fall on a spectrum, and it may not be where you want them to be on the spectrum, but they're on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
They're on it. At least they're on it. Like they're working towards it.
Yeah.
And I guess you can. Some people bank on potential. Some people stray away from it because potential is a tough one. You know what I'm saying?
Potential?
It's a 50-50. Nah, you showed me everything I wanted in a woman early on, and that's why I move with absolute confidence. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I wanted, for my children as a mother, you had those traits. Cool, check that box. And of course, many others. That was just an example. Like I thought about myself and the people that come after me, and my, family members. I wanted my mom to have a dope daughter-in-law, you know? I wanted my sisters to have a dope sister-in-law. And vice versa with your family. I'm sure you felt the same about them having a son-in-law or brother-in-law. You think about all the people around you, and is that person going to be
suitable?
Yeah, like an asset to the equation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And one thing I've always told you is that, the minute there are more lows than goods, or excuse me, goods, there are more lows than highs, or we're doing bad more than we're doing good. Not in the sense of like, oh man, where we're at, like financially, but like where are we at with each other? The moment I can't stand to be around you more than I actually desire to be with you is the moment I really gotta be like, all right, is this really for me? At least that's the questions I was thinking, and I always told you that, like, we will call it quits when I can really ask you, is there more bad than good? And if you answer that question yes, then we need to
reevaluate.
Straight like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's rocket science.
So with that, we will go ahead and cheers and close out.
Cheers and close out.
This is to a year of love, happiness, and
growth, understanding, communication, all that. You know what I'm saying?
Good work, Watts.
Straight like that.
Good work.
Appreciate you.